talk tonight. 10 pounds sexier in 10 weeks. Woohoo! Sexier. That's good stuff. I had to use the word sexier because I wanted to get people here. And sex sells. That's what I heard anyway. It's on the front of every magazine that's on the shelf. It's really healthier. It's not lighter. It's not skinnier. It's healthier. 10 pounds healthier. So that's what my talk's about. There's a lot of misinformation in the diet world, the weight loss world. Do you guys agree? Yes? Yes. Say yes. And we're the sickest we've ever been as a species, the United States, Americans. Our offspring are the sickest they've ever been. And it's not a good thing. We're not going in the right direction. And so we need a new plan and a new strategy. And I'm hoping tonight that I can give you information that can help you get there. The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest patients in care of the human frame, proper diet, and the cause and prevention of disease. Has anybody heard that phrase before, that statement? Do you know who said it? Thomas Edison. 1847 to 1931 is when he was around. You agree with that? The doctor of the future will give no medicine. Interests his patients in the care of the human frame. We really need a new plan. We need the right information so we can utilize it to make the right decision. But you have to have a reason behind why each one of you individually wants to seek that different place. You have to have, I'm sure you know the results you want. When you think about, I don't want to talk about weight loss, but let's talk about body composition or body transformation. I'm sure you have an idea of where you want to be. You have to get clear in your head, though, the purpose of why you want to be there. That's what's going to be the driving factor behind what you're moving towards. And remember, we're not moving away from anything. Know that you're moving towards something. You're moving towards health. You're moving towards longevity. You're moving towards more energy. You're moving towards a better functioning body, physically and biochemically. And get that picture clear in your head what your purpose is. Is it for the grandkids? Is it for your kids? Is it for yourself? What's the purpose? You know the results. Now we need to get a massive action plan together so we can achieve those results. I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. Socrates. I'm here to make you think. I want to give you the information that I believe is correct for our genome, for our genetic makeup, what our cells expect and require. The best way not to be sick is to be healthy. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Say yes if you agree with that. The best way not to be sick is to be healthy. How do we do health? If we're not doing health, aren't we doing sick? Because there's no in between. And you have to work at health. You have to move towards health. It requires different things to have those results. Startling stats. The Coast Guard now assumes the average boat passenger weighs 185 pounds, up from 160 pounds that was in place since 1960. More than a quarter of all American ages 17 to 24 are unqualified for military service because of their weight. Are we moving in the right direction? The University of Alabama at Birmingham hospitals has replaced wall-mounted toilets with floor models that can hold at least 250 pounds. About $5 billion more is spent every year in jet fuel needed to fly heavier Americans compared to the 1960 weights. Is the government giving you the right plan for weight loss? Are all the other internet available information stuff got you confused? Are you getting the results you want? Are you moving towards a better body, or do you keep on going like this? Up and down and up and down and up and down and get frustrated and say, you know what, screw it. This is just the way I'm going to be. The World Health Organization estimates that by 2015 there will be over 2 billion overweight and 700 million obese adults worldwide. The prevalence of overweight U.S. adults has increased dramatically over the past 30 years, with type 2 diabetes representing what is perhaps the most serious obesity-related consequence. Do you guys know what type 2 diabetes used to be called? Adult onset diabetes. Do you know why the name's changed?
It's getting younger.
Because kids are getting it. Adult onset diabetes to type 2 diabetes. Why are the kids getting it? Because they're living the same lifestyles that their parents are teaching them? Mother, father, teacher, preacher? Don't you, if you live in the same household, does success leave clues and failure leave clues? Don't we all eat our meals together? Most of us? Are you eating the same thing? Do you think you're eating healthy? I bet you're not. Nearly 90% of individuals with type 2 diabetes are overweight. See the correlation? Adult onset, nope, not anymore. Type 2 diabetes, 90% are overweight. You following the trail? This is out of the Clinical Diabetes Journal, 2008. This isn't stuff I'm making up. The present obesity epidemic is both troubling and informative, because adiposity, which means obesity, adipose meaning fat tissue, adiposity is largely caused by poor diet and inadequate physical activity. Emphasis on more downstream risk factors such as hypertension, dyslipidemia, which is your cholesterol stuff, and diabetes address neither the root causes of obesity nor its full cardiovascular consequences. This is out of Circulation, one of the toughest journals to get into, 2008. Do you understand what this says? Emphasis on the effects, the risk factors, emphasis on the effects, hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes, addresses neither the root causes of obesity nor its full cardiovascular consequences. This is the problem. It's here. These aren't the problems. Down here, we've got to address the cause. Obesity downstream conditions. I'm being honest. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer. Let's get real. Say it how it is. Fat equals sick. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, cancer. It's because of obesity and overweight and our metabolic storm that's happening in our bodies, our metabolic derangement, our hormonal storm, because of the nutrition that the food industry is feeding you guys and marketing to you and selling to you that it is a good thing to put in your body. And putting things on their pretty boxes that say things like natural and good for you, bullshit. Let's go way back to the beginning of man, like 1991. See how he was doing then. Obesity trends, 1991. Less than 10%, 10 to 15%, 1991, you guys. Think back to 1991 and how old you were. You don't have to say it out loud. Are we look at this. 93 to 95, 98 to 2000. I'm sorry, there, and then 2008 to 2010. Look where we're going. That's the wrong direction. And you know what? Before this, long time ago, 1991, that graph, if you look at it on a graph, is pretty flat like this. I mean, obesity's been around since the 20s and early change of the century. But look what's happened here recently. You curious why? Is it because we're working less? I don't think so. Do I still take care of all kinds of guys that do construction and frame and plumb and farm and bust their ass? Is it because of they're not expending enough calories? That's not it. That's not the reason. So what's our strategy? You guys ever seen that thing before?
Well,
The Rubik's Cube, 1980. It's about actually what time the stuff really got really bad, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So what's the deal with the Rubik's Cube? You got to make every one of these squares go back to the exact same color, right? That every one of them was before. There's like 42 million different ways that this can be set up from, that can be solved to, and it can be solved in actually 22 different moves from any situation that it's in. I have no idea what those are, and I have no idea how to do this, and it can be very frustrating. And so can your weight and your body composition. It can be very frustrating because you're not getting the right information. And you try different strategies because someone's teaching you to, they're telling you to do things, but it's not the right things. And a lot of times what they're teaching, it's for profit. You know, and it's just these, they want to make money, obviously, because they're in business. And so you hear about this weight loss and this weight loss, and hey, you just drink this, and it's like Jack's Beanstalk, it just grows. And so you guys go Texas Hold'em and you go all in. Yep, I'm doing that one. Because my neighbor told me that that was fantastic and it worked for them. Where are they at now, I wonder, most of those people? Are they 3 months here, 3 months there, 3 months here, 3 months there? I got a feeling most of them, yes. Because we can't look at that graph and look at the rate of things, how things have changed and everybody's being successful with all their new programs. We got to look at it with the strategy. You've got to have a plan, a purpose, a strategic plan. It's like a franchise. If you buy a business, which is a franchise, you're 85% more likely to succeed than if you go about it on your own. Why is that? Why would buying a franchise give you better results? Because someone has put it through the tests. Someone has thought about a strategy and a plan and how we work, how we open the door, how we see people, whatever. I mean, think about, let's not talk about McDonald's. Think about, you know what I'm saying, any sort of franchise. They've put strategies in place for people to follow and move forward. So we've got to put our strategy in place, and we need to understand why this is happening in the first place. Let's try this. How about everybody stand up if you've got enough room, stand up. Leave both your arms by your side if you can do that. Now fold your arms in front of yourself. Now let your arms drop back on the side. Now fold them the other way. Kind of weird? How hard is change? Change is very hard. Try to just from this to, whoa, which way does that go? You said the other way. How hard is it to change from the lifestyle and the patterns and everything that you've been doing for so long? It's very hard. You can have a seat. We got to make it simple. Einstein said there's brilliance in simplicity. Don't look, you have to look at things at how they are. Don't look at them worse than they are. Take a look at where you're at right now and look at where you're at. Don't make it worse than it is. Just decide, I'm here, and I want to go there. I want to move towards that. Decide, when we give this information, look at it how it is. Don't make it harder than it is. Don't look at it and say, I just can't do that, that's not going to work for me. It just doesn't work. It's not going to work for me because you're so set in your pattern, you guys. Change is difficult. You got to take it a little bit at a time. And we can move there. We can go in that direction. All right, here we go.
Now CNN's Sanjay Gupta on assignment.
Can you guys hear that?
60 minutes.
The chances are good that sugar is a bigger part of your daily diet than you may realize, which is why our story tonight is so important. New research coming out of some of America's most respected institutions is starting to find that sugar, the way many people are eating it today, is a toxin and could be a driving force behind some of this country's leading killers, including heart disease. As a result of these findings, an anti-sugar campaign has sprung up, led by Dr. Robert Lustig, a California endocrinologist, who believes the consumption of added sugars has plunged America into a public health crisis.
The story will continue in a moment.
Is sugar toxic? I believe it is. Do you ever worry that it's just just sounds a little bit over the top.
Sure, all the time. But it's the truth.
Dr. Robert Lustig is a pediatric endocrinologist at the University of California, San Francisco, and a pioneer in what is becoming a war against sugar.
Deep breaths.
Motivated by his own patients, too many sick and obese children, Dr. Lustig has concluded that sugar, more than any other substance, is to blame.
What are all these various diseases that you say are linked to sugar? Obesity, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease itself.
Lustig says the American lifestyle is killing us.
And most of it, you say, is preventable. 75% of it is preventable.
While Dr. Lustig has published a dozen scientific articles on the evils of sugar, it was his lecture on YouTube called Sugar, the Bitter Truth that brought his message to the masses.
I'm standing here today to recruit you in the war against bad food.
By bad food, Dr. Lustig means the obvious things, such as table sugar, honey, syrup, sugary drinks, and desserts, but also just about every processed food you can imagine, where sugar is often hidden. Yogurts and sauces, bread, even peanut butter. And what about the man-made, often vilified sweetener, high fructose corn syrup?
Is it worse than just table sugar?
No, because it's the exact same. They are basically equivalent. Problem is, they're both bad. They're both equally toxic.
Since the 1970s, sugar consumption has gone down nearly 40%, but high fructose corn syrup has more than made up the difference. Dr. Lustig says they are both toxic because they both contain fructose. That's what makes them sweet and irresistible.
We love it. We go out of our way to find it. And I think one of the reasons evolutionarily is because there is no foodstuff on the planet that has fructose that is poisonous to you. It is all good. So when you taste something that's sweet, it's an evolutionary Darwinian signal that this is a safe food.
We were born this way.
We were born this way.
Central to Dr. Lustig's theory is that we used to get our fructose mostly in small amounts of fruit, which came loaded with fiber that slows absorption and consumption. After all, who can eat 10 oranges at a time? But as sugar and high fructose corn syrup became cheaper to refine and produce, we started gorging on them. Americans now consume 130 pounds per person a year. That's a third of a pound every day. Dr. Lustig believes those sweeteners are helping fuel an increase in the most deadly disease in America, heart disease. For years, he's been a controversial voice.
Here is our oral isotope.
But now studies done by Kimber Stanhope, a nutritional biologist at the University of California, Davis, are starting to back him up. She's in the middle of a groundbreaking 5-year study which has already shown strong evidence linking excess high fructose corn syrup consumption to an increase in risk factors for heart disease and stroke. That suggests calories from added sugars are different than calories from other foods.
The mantra that you hear from most nutritionists is that a calorie is a calorie is a calorie.
And I think the results of the study show clearly that is not true.
Stanhope's conclusions weren't easy to come by. Nutrition studies are expensive and difficult. Stanhope has paid groups of research subjects to live in this hospital wing for weeks at a time, under a sort of 24-hour lockdown. They undergo scans and blood tests. Every calorie they ingest meticulously weighed and prepared.
They're never out of our sight. So we do know that they are consuming exactly what we need them to consume.
And they're not sneaking any candy bars on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
For the first few days, participants eat a diet low in added sugars, so baseline blood levels can be measured.
So remember, you guys have to finish all your Kool-Aid.
Then 25% of their calories are replaced with sweetened drinks. And Stanhope's team starts drawing blood every 30 minutes around the clock. And those blood samples, they revealed something disturbing.
And what are you starting to see?
We found that the subjects who consumed high fructose corn syrup had increased blood levels of LDL cholesterol and other risk factors for cardiovascular disease.
How quickly did these changes occur?
Within 2 weeks.
Kimber Stanhope's study suggests that when a person consumes too much sweet stuff, The liver gets overloaded with fructose and converts some of it into fat. Some of that fat ends up in the bloodstream and helps generate a dangerous kind of cholesterol called small dense LDL. These particles are known to lodge in blood vessels, form plaque, and are associated with heart attacks.
Did it surprise you when you first got these results back?
I would have to say I was surprised because when I saw our data, I started drinking and eating a whole lot less sugar. I would say our data surprised me.
So imagine, for these healthy young people, drinking a sweetened drink might be just as bad for their hearts as the fatty cheeseburgers we've all been warned about since the 1970s. That's when a government commission mandated that we lower fat consumption to try and reduce heart disease.
Major coronary risk factors.
So with the best of intentions, they say, time to reduce fat in the American diet.
Exactly. And we did. And guess what? Heart disease, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, and death are skyrocketing.
Dr. Lustig believes that's primarily because we replaced a lot of that fat with added sugars.
When you take the fat out of the food, it tastes like cardboard. And the food industry knew that. So they replaced it with sugar.
This idea that sugar increases this particularly bad LDL, the small, dense particles that are associated with heart disease. Do most doctors, do they know this?
No, they do not know this. This is new.
And it turns out sugar has become a major focus in cancer research too. Lewis Cantley is looking at the connection.
If you limit your sugar, you decrease your chances of developing cancer.
Absolutely.
Cantley, a Harvard professor and the head of the Beth Israel Deaconess Cancer Center, says when we eat or drink sugar, it causes a sudden spike in the hormone insulin, which can serve as a catalyst to fuel certain types of cancers.
What we're beginning to learn is that insulin can cause adverse effects in various tissues. And of particular concern is cancer.
Why? Nearly a third of some common cancers, including breast and colon cancers, have something called insulin receptors on their surface. Insulin binds to these receptors and signals the tumor to start consuming glucose.
So this is your body.
Every cell in our body needs glucose to survive. But the trouble is, these cancer cells also use it to grow.
So if you happen to have a tumor that has insulin receptors on it, then it will get stimulated to take up the glucose that's in the bloodstream. So rather than going into the fat or the muscle, the glucose now goes into the tumor, and the tumor uses it to grow.
So you've just seen that tumor turn blue, which is essentially reflective of the glucose going into it.
That's right.
So these cancers, much in the same way that muscle will say, hey, I'd like some of that glucose. The fat says, I would like some of that glucose. The cancers have learned how to do this themselves as well?
Yes, so they have evolved the ability to hijack that flow of glucose that's going by in the bloodstream into the tumor itself.
Lewis Cantley's research team is working on developing drugs that will cut off the glucose supply to cancer cells and keep them from growing. But until there's a breakthrough, Cantley's advice, don't eat sugar. And if you must, keep it to a minimum.
In fact, I live my life that way. I rarely eat sugar.
When you see a sugary drink, or if I were to offer you one, with all that you know, what's going through your mind?
I probably would turn it down and get a glass of water.
But for most of us, that's easier said than done.
Turns out sugar is much more addictive than I think we had sort of realized early on.
Eric Stice, a neuroscientist at the Oregon Research Institute, is using functional MRI scanners to learn how our brains respond to sweetness.
Sugar activates the brain in a special way that's very reminiscent of drugs like cocaine.
That's right, cocaine.
All right, let's give it a shot.
I climbed into the MRI scanner to see how my brain would respond. That's a straw that's been rigged to deliver a tiny sip of soda into my mouth.
Stay as still as it can, okay?
Just as it hit my tongue, the scanner detected increased blood rushing to certain regions of my brain. In these images, the yellow areas show that my reward region is responding to the sweet taste. Dopamine, a chemical that controls the brain's pleasure center, is being released, just as it would in response to drugs or alcohol.
So dopamine's released. That sort of makes me feel good. I'm experiencing some pleasure from having this guy.
Right, that euphoric effect.
So far be it
for people to realize this because sugar is everywhere. But you're saying this is one of the most addictive substances possibly that we have.
It certainly is very good at firing the reward regions in our brain.
Eric Stice says by scanning hundreds of volunteers, he's learned that people who frequently drink sodas or eat ice cream or other sweet foods may be building up a tolerance, much like drug users do. As strange as it sounds, that means the more you eat, the less you feel the reward. The result? You eat more than ever.
If you overeat these on a regular basis, it causes changes in the brain that basically it blunts your reward region response to the food, so then you eat more and more to achieve the same satisfaction you felt originally.
With all this new science emerging, we wanted to hear from the sugar industry. So we visited Jim Simon, who's on the board of the Sugar Association, at a sugarcane farm in Louisiana.
Would it surprise you that almost every scientist that we talked to in researching this story told us they are eliminating all added sugars? They're getting rid of it because they're concerned about the health impacts.
To say that the American consuming public is going to completely eliminate sweeteners out of their diet, I don't think gets us there.
Simon cautions that eliminating sugar wrongly vilifies one food, rather than working toward the long-term solution of reducing calories and exercising.
You know, a lot of people, Jim, are saying that sugar is different. It is bad for your heart and causing a lot of the problems that we are talking about. It is addictive, and in some cases might even fuel cancers. What would you, I mean, you've looked at this. You must have looked at some of these studies. What do you say about that?
Science is not completely clear here.
But some of these studies exist. I mean, what is a consumer, and what are they to make of all that?
Well, I would say to them that they've got to approach their diet in balance.
Dr. Robert Lustig agrees. We need a balanced diet. But his idea of balance is a drastic reduction in sugar consumption. To that end, he co-authored an American Heart Association report recommending men should consume no more than 150 calories of added sugars a day, and women just 100 calories. That's less than the amount in just one can of soda.
Ultimately, this is a public health crisis. And when it's a public health crisis, you have to do big things, and you have to do them across the board. Tobacco and alcohol are perfect examples. We have made a conscious choice that we're not going to get rid of them, but we are going to limit their consumption. I think sugar belongs in this exact same wastebasket.
Go to 60minutesovertime.com
Have you guys seen that
for
before?
Dr. Sanjay Gupta's take on how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet.
A few of my
Sponsored by
comments.
Pfizer.
One of them, how about the scientists talking about the sugar and how it feeds the cancer? And then they say, until we find a breakthrough drug
Now
to stop
tune in
this
Sanjay Gupta on assignment for 60 minutes.
until we find a breakthrough drug to stop the receptors on top of this tumor, people are going to have to figure out their sugar consumption. Does that piss you off? Pisses me off. Why don't we just tell people about what the cause is? Isn't that again treating the effects? Right. Until we find a breakthrough drug that stops the receptors on this cancer, this tumor's cancer, people are going to have to figure out their sugar. Why if they just figure out their sugar and understand this information, then we don't need more drugs. When are you guys going to decide that when the drug companies have been sued enough for the side effects and killing people, and enough drugs have been taken off the market, that it's time to maybe make a shift in your lifestyle and stop going to the drugs? You see what I'm saying? We have to address the cause. The other thing is, how about the corn guy? Yeah, well, hey, there's science here. Is it clear? Is it whatever? What about people just need to watch their calories and exercise more? Have you heard that from your medical doctor before? Is that the advice he gives you? Because it's wrong. This isn't about a calorie imbalance or an energy imbalance. That's not what this is about. People are still working day to day. How come they're still becoming so obese? This isn't about a chemical or an energy imbalance. It's about what you're eating and what you're being fed and what's being marketed to you. Okay, so then the other thing that I disagree with is the doctor, who's a very smart man and he's written journals, but he said sucrose and high fructose corn syrup are the same. Sugar and high fructose corn syrup are the same.
He's wrong.
Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. They are completely different, and they're metabolized completely different in their body, and it makes me mad that he said that because he's a smart man, and he's on the right track, but it makes me mad that he said that.
He should know better.
He should know better. And so when we look at this graph here, just childhood obesity and overweight, if this graph went further back out, again, this graph stays flat, 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 flat. 1963 to 65, 66, 70, 70, 71. Do you see where it starts to make this shift? That's when high fructose corn syrup came in. Sugar consumption, this was how many calories per day from each one of these things. Honey, stayed right here on the bottom. High fructose corn syrup, 76, 80, up, 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 up. Cane and beet sugar, down, down, down. Total sugar consumption. Do these graphs match? How long were we eating sugar at this level? For a long time. Since the turn of the century, since 1920s. Oops. Sorry. Do you see the correlation? High fructose corn syrup right here. 1976 to 1980. It doesn't take a statistician to look at this and say, oh shit, what happened here? That happened here. High fructose corn syrup was introduced. I want to throw my shoe at the TV when they come on and they say, well, it's just corn. High fructose corn syrup. What are they throwing up a big deal about? It's just corn paid for by Monsanto and DuPont paying for this commercial. Because they're making bajillions of dollars on this stuff because it's cheap. And it's sweeter. It's sweeter than sugar. When they put it on the sweet scale, it's like, I don't remember the numbers exactly, it's sweeter, a lot sweeter. So they can use less of it, and it's cheaper, and they're putting it in every one of your food products, you guys. And now they're trying to hide it. They're trying to change it from high fructose corn syrup to just fructose sugar, just fructose. To get people, the people that are maybe have a little bit of concern about it, to shut up. The, hold on, let me think, Patagonian toothfish. If you saw that on the menu at your favorite restaurant, and it was the special for the night, do you think you ordered it? Do you think you would order it? Patagonian toothfish. He got his name changed. You know what it got changed into? Chilean sea bass. How many of you like Chilean sea bass? I love it. It's yummy. But am I going to order Patagonian toothfish? They changed the name. High fructose corn syrup is high fructose corn syrup. It's laboratory and chemically screwed up. Your body doesn't recognize it in the gut. It puts it right into the liver, and it's causing non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. And it's causing, this is a problem. It's causing obesity. Big time. We had, remember the states? 91, way back when? Boom, boom, boom. Remember how our states went? Look at this chart, and look at this chart. Okay, let's think of examples in sugar. Just go through, not your diet, because I know you guys got all amazing diets. Go through the people you work with diets and tell me what we find sugar in. Perfect. Donuts? Pasta? Pop? Bread?
Granola bars.
Granola bars?
Condiments.
Condiments? Soup, absolutely.
Salad dressing.
Salad dressing, yes.
Ice cream.
Ice cream, yep. Dairy, yes. Bagels. I thought bagels were good for me. Especially if I put cream cheese on them. Aren't those good? They told me that was good.
Yogurt.
Yogurt, yes. Oh, but hey, well, let's market that. Let's say it's got an acidophilus in it and cultures and stuff, which it does. If it's full of sugar. And you know what sugar causes? A graph like that. All right. I sit down with patients and I say, I roll my chair around and say, okay, let's talk about your diet. Let's figure this thing out. Tell me on a typical day what you have for breakfast. Oh, I have cereal and cereal. Cereal, is that sugar? And what do they put on their cereal? Dairy. Is that sugar? Sugar? Sugar. Okay, so you started your morning with sugar. Got it? Okay. And then do you have a mid-morning snack or anything? No. You know, I'll just usually go right all the way to dinner. Is that a problem, you guys? Is your body smart or stupid? Smart. Is your body smart or stupid?
Smart.
Does everything your body does, it does for a reason? If you're skipping meals, your body's storing fat. It's going into stress mode and it's making cortisol and it stores fat. We evolved from a guy called the hunter and gatherer. He didn't know where his next meal was coming from. He didn't have a drive-thru that he can roll up to and a guy could throw a bag of crap in his thing that he called food and he ate it. So when he was missing out on food, his body went into survival mode and it stored fat for which reason? To survive. Because his sole purpose is to survive and reproduce. That's what the body needs to do. Okay, mid-morning snack? Oh, I usually have yogurt. What's it? Sugar, thank you. And then for lunch, what do you have for lunch? Oh, I'll have a sandwich, you know, and white bread or wheat bread? Oh, wheat bread. Sugar, thank you. How about glycemic index? You know what that means? That means when you take sugar into the body and how fast it makes the sugar spike in the blood. White bread, it gets it from 0 to 100 in an amount of like 30 minutes. White bread, 70. Wheat bread, 69. Woohoo! That's better. Its glycemic index is identical. Sugar, okay, I got turkey, probably processed, I'm sure. And some veg on there, lettuce, piece of lettuce, tomato. First time I heard that in their menu all day long. Some mayonnaise, sugar, soup, cheese, sugar. Or it has an acid effect on the body. We can get into that where there's that's a long discussion. And I have a soup, cream-based or like broth-based? Cream, got it, take sugar. And then go back to work, and then, oh, I gotta have my 2 o'clock fix. It's 2 o'clock, it's time. You got your drawer full of what? M&Ms. M&Ms. I don't know, but it's okay. I just do this every day. It's 2 o'clock, it's my time. It's my little thing. I got my little drawer right here with all my little stuff in here. Sugar, do you guys see what's happening? And what do you have for dinner? Oh, we have a great dinner. And a lot of the conversation is a decent dinner. But what was going on the whole rest of the day? Sugar, 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 sugar. Who taught you to eat like this? Mother, father, teacher, preacher in the school. Soda, bread, pasta, white potato, processed food, corn. It's in everything. All the processed food that you eat has got corn in there, and GMO corn. It's even worse. European countries get out of my country. They don't want it in their country. It's making their people sick and their cattle sick, and it's making us sick too, sicker than we already are, you guys. Sickest we've ever been as a species. Dairy, juice, crackers, fruit juice, jellies. How about the kids that come in here in the morning, and they got their Ziploc baggie full of what? Cheerios, and they got what? A juice box? Sugar, sugar. Childhood obesity, boom, same direction. How come every event has to be revolved around sugar and treats? Oh, but it's his birthday party, we gotta have sugar and treats, and I understand that, and you can have that on occasion. I'm not saying you guys we can never have this stuff, and I'll get to that point part 2, because I'm not drill sergeant. But why? Oh, it's carpool day, we have treats in the car, and this, and it's Tuesday, that's a shit treats, let's have some treats. It's every freaking day, you guys, there's always have to be something. I read, oh, I don't know why my baby's sick, you know, we had his typical dinner, we had, whatever, like, pizza, and then he had his Rice Krispie treat for dinner. It's his typical dinner. I don't know why he's feeling so sick tonight. Sugar, 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 sugar. It kills the immune system. It causes hormonal derangement. You ever seen that? Food Guide Pyramid. How many of these servings a day should I have of those grains groups? Waffles, bread, rice. Who designed this?
Government.
Who?
Government.
Who's killing us? Do they have a handle on it now? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You heard of the pharmaceutical industry? Do you think they spend a lot of money in lobbying every year to the government?
Oh, yeah.
Guess who spends more than them?
Food industry.
Food industry. It's not marketed as much, it's not in the news because people don't get as pissed off about it like I do. People do get upset about the pharmaceutical stuff and that, oh, they lobby to them and they're advertising and it's in all the magazines, drugs, and it's on all commercials. Well, what's on the other commercials? What's in the other magazines? They spend more money lobbying than the pharmaceutical companies. They're the ones making it sick. You guys think they're in bed together? Pharmaceutical makes money off of well people or sick people?
Sick people.
If everybody gets well, are they going to go out of business?
Yeah.
Who do you think they're in bed with? Does the spinach farmer and the kale farmer and the almond farmer and the grass-fed beef farmer, do you think he has a bigger stronghold on the people and selling food and he's making more profit? Or do you think the grain farmer and the high fructose corn syrup farmer and these guys are making more money? Follow the money. Boom. Oh. So, okay, we got these groups. Veggie groups, there's a white potato right there. We got our fruit groups. Fruits are awesome, in moderation. We got our milk group, sugar, and another story for another time. We have our meat group, good, the right kind. And then up here they have their others category. That is a frickin' pop and a cherry pie and a cookie and a donut is a food group. And a category that you should have is building foods, building bodies. Building blocks of building bodies. Oh, man. We're overfed, undernourished, underexercised. The body's solution to pollution is dilution. The body's solution to pollution is dilution. The body holds on to water. The fat cells swell and multiply in number and you get fat quick. Back to the video. The lady that was studying the people in the hospital that says that our tests and our studies are very expensive because we have to keep these people in a hospital that's ripping people off too, charging outrageous amounts for the hospital stay in the study. Oh, so it's hard for us to afford these things. When they got their sugar blood levels down and they started putting them back in and test their blood every 30 minutes and these numbers started to go up, how fast? Within 2 weeks. They regulated their blood sugar numbers. Then they started to make them drink all their Kool-Aid and everything. Remember? Test their blood every 30 minutes. How fast did they start to get sick? Within 2 weeks. The body's solution to pollution is dilution. So as we put this sugar and omega-6 fatty acid toxicity in our body, you guys can check that out on chronic cellular low-grade inflammation video. I did a video, check it out on the website, talking about omega-6s to omega-3s, this invalid shift between our lipid profile, and what that means. The body's solution to pollution is dilution. So it makes more fat cells. They can multiply in number, up to millions. And they hold more water and we get fat quick. You know why? Because it's a safe place for your body to push the toxicity. Your body's always trying to survive or thrive. When you're putting this toxicity in your body, you're putting it into a survival mode. Is your body smart or stupid?
Smart.
Thank you. It's doing this for a reason. It's making your body fat because it's a safe place to push the toxicity. You're not over fat, you're over toxic. That's the problem. And no matter how you bust your ass and work out and work more, your body's not going to rid that fat. It hangs on to it. Because your body's smart and you can't live without it because you're still toxic because you haven't made a shift in your diet. Because you're eating this. Still, a lot of you, even though now they changed it to a plate, it's the same stuff. Oh, okay. How about this study? And this isn't by chance. It's by choice. Who decides what you eat?
We do.
You.
This study, MSN, this was like this week, Dr. Thad sent it to me. Study offers fat people $3,500 to eat fast food every day. Washington University in St. Louis has a gastronomic deal of the century for fast food freaks. They can eat to their artery hardened heart's content. All the pizza, tacos, and bacon swathed burgers they can handle every day for 3 months and walk away, assuming they still can with $3,500 in their pocket. There's a catch though. They have to be at least 30 pounds overweight to begin with and must gain 5% of their body weight during the obesity study, which is being done in hopes to figuring out why some overweight people get diabetes and develop cardiovascular problems while others do not. Oh, are you kidding me? They're spending lots and lots of money on these studies. Are you kidding me? Oh, along with the monetary benefit, once the participants gain the required weight, they'll be entered into a weight loss program to lose it.
Oh,
and guess what their weight loss program probably is? Pull down their calories and work them harder. We're not in a imbalance in that sense, you guys. That's not the problem. We can't talk about diet either. Diet has a negative connotation in your head, doesn't it? Oh, I'm on a diet. Well, you're not on a diet. Think about body transformation. Think about body composition. What you're made up of. Oh, I'm on a body transformation program. You're not on a diet. When you're on a diet, you want to lose. Does anybody want to lose anything? Subconsciously, your mind doesn't want to do that in the first place. You don't want to lose a loved one. You don't want to lose money. You don't want to lose the game. I don't want to lose. Do you want to lose? So stop saying that. Stop saying you want to lose weight. You want to gain health. You want to gain longevity. You want to gain energy. You want to gain. What do you want to gain? Not what you want to lose. You can't focus on that. And throw the damn scale away. The scale sucks. It tells you nothing. It tells you what you weigh. It doesn't tell you your mass. Then you bust your ass and you start to make some shifts in your lifestyle, which is correct, and you're exercising and lifting and building muscle. Which weighs more, muscle or fat? Muscle. So you're losing fat and gaining muscle, and your weight might not shift, so you step on the scale, and what do you say? Shut up, scale. I'm done with this. I've lost no weight. Screw the scale. It's not about the scale. It's about your body composition. Body fat percentage. In males, it should be from 8%. That would be like an incredible, like we don't, 8%, shut up. You don't need 8%. How about 8% to about 14% for males? For females, it's more. 13% to 22%. Why? Because God is good. God is good, and He gave women more fat because He gave them more curves and things. Thank you, sir. That's why. Okay, insulin equals fat storage hormone. Say it with me. Ready? Insulin equals fat storage hormone. Say it again. Insulin equals fat storage hormone. Do you get it? When we're chronically out of balance, your body makes insulin anyway. It's a good thing. It's supposed to be there for a hormonal thing that happens in our body with glycogen and glucagon, and I could go into all this physiology and stuff, but I'm not going to tonight. Let's just go with this. One more time. Insulin equals fat storage hormone. So when you're chronically out of balance and you're being fed all this sugar and you're deciding to choose to eat all this sugar and containing food and high fructose corn syrup, this gets out of whack. And when it's out of whack and it's producing too much, guess what it does? Stores fat. Insulin. In women, it increases testosterone. What? Is that a good thing? No. In men, it increases estrogen. What? Is that a good thing? It throws your sex hormones out of whack. Then you talk about hormone replacement therapy and crap like this. What's the driver? What's the source? You're out of whack. It increases inflammation. It's pro-inflammatory. It creates inflammation in your body. How about achy joints and stiffness and sickness and immune dysfunction? And how about, again, fat storage? When your body's pro-inflammatory, it hangs on to fat cells because it's a safe place to push this stuff. It increases your blood pressure. Got it? We talked about that. And increases your oxidative stress. That turns into cancers and stuff. Free radical damage. Then you got your neighbor selling you stuff called Monavie because, hey, you take this acai berry and this Monavie and it makes you feel so much better because it takes care of some oxidative stress. Is it affecting the effect or is it affecting the cause? The effect. Yes, you may feel a little bit better. But I guarantee you're eating the same diet that you were eating yesterday. Right? It screws up neurotransmitters. Dopamine. Remember the guy in the video? Dopamine's your pleasure center. Your body's always looking for dopamine. You want pleasure. It's a good thing. Different things make dopamine fire in the brain. Sugar, very addictive, right? Like cocaine does the same thing. The more of it you eat, the more of it you need to stimulate your pleasure center. You're addicted. We got to address the elephant in the room. You're addicted to sugar. That's the problem. It's because that's what you've been fed. You have to understand it. You have to know that before you can make a shift. Agree? Say yes?
Yes.
Increases cholesterol. Screws stuff up. HALT. H-A-L-T. This is why I want to try to help you out. So when you're trying to make this shift, and you make it a little bit at a time, you don't eliminate everything right away because you're going to fail. I want you to be successful. We got to set up a plan so you can be successful and you can start to make a shift in your lifestyle choices. HALT, dopamine, the feel-good hormone. Why are you grabbing for that treat, M&Ms, sugar, ice cream? Because you're hungry? You got to ask yourself. I want you to, when you're grabbing for it, I want you to see this in your mind. Close your eyes and see it in your mind up there in the air. HALT, halt. Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Or are you tired? Halt. Why are you grabbing for the sugar? Why are you grabbing for the treat? What's the reason? Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Why? Try to make a shift, you guys. You have to understand it yourself. You have to make your own choices and your own decisions. I want you guys to live for a long, long time. I don't want you to be in pain. Dieting lies. Oh, weight plans, weight problems run in my family. Whatever. Success leave clues and failure leave clues. You were raised by somebody called your parents. Did you learn the same lifestyle strategies as they did? Did they run by the pyramid? Did you have your grains group and your candy group and whatever group? You got it. We're going to create a shift. It doesn't run in your family. How about the people on The Biggest Loser? They go on there, in trouble, and they do their program, and they lose their weight. Did they change their genome? Did they change their genetics? Our genetics haven't changed, you guys. Remember our graph with the obesity, and it comes from clear down here, and then it starts to ramp up like this? Our genetics haven't changed for 200,000 years. Homo sapiens, that's our genus and our species. It's our genomes, it's the same thing. Aren't you human beings? Oh, here's big lie number 2. Just eat less and you'll lose weight. How many of you tried that? Is it working? How's that working for you? Is it working long term? You know what happens? Is your body smart or stupid? Smart. Thank you. So when you cut the calories down, your body's designed to run on so many calories. You know, if I sit here in my body, or stand or sit in the chair all day long, I have to breathe, and blood and heart and stomach, and all that takes energy. You know what energy is measured in? A calorie. You have to think about your food as fuel. What kind of fuel are you choosing to put in this body? Is it fuel that's going to cleanse you or clog you? If I put diesel fuel in my gas truck, how's it going to run? Not so good. Just eat less and you'll lose weight. Oh, here, okay. How about if I'm supposed to breathe about 20 times a minute? What if I wake up this morning and say, you know what? I'm going to do it 14 times a minute. Screw it. I'm going to breathe only 14 times a minute instead of 20 the way my body wants to. Don't cut the calories down. You got to choose the right calories. Oh, I'll just work it off at the gym. You can't put that toxic stuff in. Is your body smart or stupid? Smart. It stores fat. It stores fat because it's a safe place to push your toxicity. So I don't care how hard you bust your ass at the gym, I'm going to work out twice a day. Because I'm on a big kick and I got reunion coming up and I got to look good, and so I'm going to work out twice a day and bust my ass. It's not going to last. Calories are calories. No, they're not. No, they're not. All that processed food and all that stuff is robbed of its micronutrition. Enzymes, minerals, phytonutrients, phytochemicals, it's robbed of it. There's nothing in there. It's not nutrient dense. It's nutrient deficient. So you're not feeding your body the right stuff with nutrient dense food like what our hunter and gatherer ate, and it's all nutrient deficient, so you need more of it to make your body satisfied. Sleep has nothing to do with it. And stress. You have to get your rest. You have to have your body refuel. If you don't go on your don't get your rest, do you think your body goes into more stress or less stress? More stress. You've got to let your body rest. And you can use exercise to burn off stress. That's what's going to burn off the cortisol. That's the way we were physiologically designed. So the hunter and gatherer, when he was in the woods and gathering his berries, and the bear came into the woods and scared him, he had a decision to fight or flee the bear, right? Good decision probably was, he figured out quickly, to flee. That's called exercise. And he's sprinting. He's running away very fast. Guess what that does? It regulates all the hormonal stuff that's happening in his body, producing the cortisol. and adrenaline and norepinephrine and all this stuff so he can run away. It shuts down your thyroid. Oh, doctor, they tested my thyroid and they said that I have thyroid issues. That's secondary to your stress, you guys, and your lack of exercise because you're not burning up that cortisol. And you're drinking the coffee that artificially stimulates cortisol to produce by your adrenal glands. You're causing adrenal fatigue, and that's what's causing your hormone to be out of whack. And it also screws up your sex hormones, and that's why you got no sex drive. And it also causes more insulin, which is the what? Fat storage hormone. You're in a big metabolic imbalance, derangement, a hormonal storm. That's the problem. Enter the hunter and gatherer. What did he eat? Some fruits. So fruits are fructose, right? And that is sugar, right? Whole fruit is different because it has fiber in the fruit, and so that helps your body metabolize and deal with the sugar. Okay? The other sugar stuff that we talked about when we said give examples of sugar, that stuff's, again, robbed of nutrient, any value, and that is a slam to the pancreas and the insulin and the whole thing, okay? Fruits, good, but it has to be some fruits. I don't want you to not choose vegetables and choose more fruits, okay? You have to have more vegetables, and we'll talk a little bit more about percentages. Berries, got it. Nuts, got it. Seeds, got it. Wild-caught fish, got it. Grass-fed, free-range meat, cage-free eggs. I've done other talks on that stuff and the reason why. Let's do a little more, okay? So, sugar stuff, as far as sugar balance and insulin and things like that, this stuff is more low glycemic. It doesn't spike your blood sugar like the white bread, wheat bread, and all the other stuff, okay? Beans, vegetables, things like that, it's around like 30 on the glycemic scale. Vegetables create alkalinity in your body. Your body has a pH, acid and alkalinity. You can go back and look at some of my past talks and go on that. I don't want to take up all the time on that. So vegetables, obviously amazing, made for us, comes from the earth. We want to choose organic when we can. That's the deal. When they study some of the hunter and gatherers and blue zones, they call them, these different groups of hunter and gatherers, and even today's age, it's fun. It's interesting how you can read different graphs of this stuff. And like the guys in Greenland, they were 96% meat and fat, and 4% vegetables and fruits. They didn't have a copious amount of vegetables and fruits and berries. It wasn't available to them. But their longevity is amazing, and guess what they don't have? Cancers, diabetes, and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Your body lives on this stuff right here. So then also in that movie they talked about in the 1970s when they talked about the fat in the diet. So fat, we want good fats, you guys. That's omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids are inflammatory. Omega-3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory. EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. DHA makes dopamine and serotonin and brain synapses. It makes your brain work. EPAs are anti-inflammatory. It's amazing, and that stuff comes from nuts, seeds, fish especially, and grass-fed, free-range. That's the healthy one. If you want to fatten a cow, what do they feed him? Corn. Grain. If you want to fatten a human, what do you feed him? Grain, sugar. How can it work different for him than it does for me? So does it create, if you're feeding him grain to fatten him up, is that creating probably a toxic cow? The answer is yes. A grass-fed, antibiotic hormone-free cow is right for us. What did my hunter and gatherer ancestry eat? Buffalo, rabbit, stuff like that. And then they study his tools, and way back when he had sharp rocks and anvils and stuff like this. Why? Because he actually could cut open this animal and they'd bust their skulls and eat their brains because that's where so much of the good fat came from, and they'd bust their bones and eat the bone marrow because it was omega-3 mono unsaturated fats. It was amazing for them. 60% of your brain is fat. 60%. So when the government told you to go low fat, they didn't get the story right. You have to choose your fats. And get rid of the hydrogenated oils and the corn and the soy and the omega-6 toxic stuff, all the vegetable oils. That stuff's got to go away. But you need coconut oil and virgin olive oil and almonds and walnuts and avocados and avocado oils and wild-caught fish and fish oils and flaxseed oils and grass-fed antibiotic hormone beef, and eat as much of it as you want. So his ratio of nutrition, 40% veg and fruit, 30% this protein, this, and 30% fat. That was his diet. Here's what I want you to think to try to make it easy. Remember, Einstein said there's simplicity and simple, and making things simpler, there's ease in that. Protein, plant, and a good fat. Every time you eat, every meal, you have to have that. Protein, plant, and a good fat. So let's talk about some ideas. Breakfast. Cage-free eggs. Those work. Cook them in olive oil, coconut oil, hard-boiled, soft, whatever, poached, something, I don't care. How about a smoothie in your fancy Vitamix blender, which I absolutely am in love with, and you can put fruits in there. How about this morning we had banana, pineapple, and avocado, which is a fruit, but he also gives me this, coconut milk, whey protein. Whey protein is going to be different than the milk stuff. So he said, Vince, you said no milk. The whey is what's there, what left over from when they make what? Cheese. The casein is the large building protein that makes the calf go from 70 pounds to 1,400 pounds in 13, 14 months. It's casein. It makes the large protein. Our body can't break it down. The casein all goes in the cheese. It's not in the whey. The whey protein, I'm going to say, is good for you from a grass-fed, antibiotic, hormone-free cow. Cold processed whey protein. It has glutathione in it and all kinds of amazing stuff that helps your immune system. Let's think about other examples of breakfast. I'm a big egg fan. I love eggs. I eat 6, 7 egg whites every, or not the whites anymore, since now I'm more educated. Before I did the whites because I wasn't eating cage-free eggs, and now that I eat those, I know that there's good stuff in the yolk as well for me, so I eat usually about 3 or 4 of them with the yolks, and then 2 or 3 of them with just the whites all together. You know, virgin olive oil, boom, a salsa, and then in this Vitamix, we make ourselves a smoothie with different stuff every day. Different stuff. Yeah, we put coconut oil in there, different things to get our good fats, and as I line up the girls and we're at the counter, we go bang, 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 everybody gets them in their cup. Boom, hard-boiled egg, little turkey bacon, whatever, that stuff's all good, okay, that's okay too, and away we go to school. With energy in our body and energy in our brain to move forward and learn and absorb from the amazing teachers we have. So we don't go to school on Pop-Tarts and a glass of orange juice. Going to school on a crash because our glycemic index got slammed and now we can't concentrate, we can't think, and we're getting overweight. How do you want to play? I'm not perfect at my diet, and you don't have to be either. Don't set yourself up for failure. Don't tell yourself, oh, this just ain't working, so I just can't do it. Don't taunt yourself like that. You can do this. You just have to figure out how you want to play. 90-10. What does that mean? So if we eat 6 meals a day, breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, dinner, and then nighttime snack, or yeah, okay, that's 6 meals. Times 7 days a week is how many meals? 42. 10% of 42 is 4.2. That means 4.2 meals a week. If I want to play on this level, I can do whatever the hell I want to do. And I'm not going to be bummed out about it or pissed off about it or anything else. I can do that and I can plan it. And I'm going to plan it for the weekends. And I'm going to plan it for the weekends because it works in my social environment.